appreciate Ms. Glover coming and explaining that situation. Is there questions from the board members?
I'd just like to know at what point in time this has been going on for 7, 8 years. You know, I'd like to know what's going on, what is really the underlying problem here, because this is going on for 7 years. People are getting tired of hearing about it. It ought to be put to bed a long time ago.
I'll give you my opinion of what's going on in this situation. Of course, there's been questions now with the ethics, whether it's ethical for me to no plate meals or whatever. There's other issues that I have that I'd like to address with this board. One of them is that the Wits are going around.
It's Witt.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Witt. Well, there's two of you there, aren't there? Wits.
Yeah, I thought you said with H. So.
No. Wits.
Excuse me just a minute. Have you got the phone on?
No. I mean, it's just.
It's not really.
I asked for the phones to be turned off. Are you taping or using the phone some way?
We can't tape.
No, ma'am. We've got the tape. If you need the tape, you will have it.
You're saying we can't tape with the phone?
Well, there's a tape machine going, and I want to make sure that there's nothing that's parts are taken out of this board meeting and used in any such way as one person might want to use them. So if you want to tape, you'll be glad to have a copy of the tape.
Well, we'd like to continue taping here, but if you say we can't do it, we'll turn it off.
Well, there's no need in taping it twice. We have a complete tape of the entire board meeting going on. All right. All right, go ahead.
Okay. The one issue that I have today for sure is we've got witnesses of the Wits putting these little cards all over the courthouse. And basically, they have a lie on here that says that Billy Glover and Donnie Joe Sparks have been fined thousands of dollars by the auditor's office, which is an absolute lie. And I'd like to address that issue. This is a cell phone issue. When I first come to office, I was approached by the board and said, look, Billy, we're going to buy you a cell phone because you're going to be getting all kinds of calls from Sheriff's Department, MBN, TBI. You're going to be getting a lot of calls. You need a cell phone. I said, I've got a cell phone. I don't want to change my number. I'm fine with it. Don't need it. They said, well, if you're going to keep your own cell phone, we'll reimburse you for your cell phone charges. I said, well, whatever you want to do, I don't care. I said, bring your bill by. We'll reimburse you for that expense. So that's what I done, and that went on for a couple of years until after that the Wits started investigating everything that I done. They looked through the files, and for some reason or another, the board or whatever had allocated this money to pay for the judge's cell phones, reimbursements. Wasn't done right, wasn't recorded right, something was wrong. The board was sent a letter by the auditor's office saying something wasn't right in the way it was done. Now the board was going to have to pay back $3,000 on my phone bill that they had reimbursed me and a couple thousand on Donnie Joe's. You remember that, Danny? They sent y'all that letter, said y'all got to pay it back. Judge Sparks and I sat right here at this board meeting and said, look, y'all reimbursed us that money. You shouldn't have to pay it back. You didn't get the money. The right thing for us to do is just write a check and give the money back, because we did get the money. But it was something that through the paperwork didn't get done right or whatever. So we gladly done that because it was the right thing to do. But to say and hand out written stuff that we have paid fines, that's an absolute bald-faced lie.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
What happened to get them against y'all so bad?
Well, in my opinion...
did y'all do something?
Well, here's the thing. In my opinion, when I first came into office, a couple months after I came into office, Mr. Witt and his wife filled out some affidavits against a couple of individuals for trespassing in these individuals' own residence. Signed the affidavits, filled out the paperwork. I looked at it. Of course, that don't meet the statutes. You can't fine somebody for trespassing in their own house. Okay? So I wouldn't sign the warrant. I thought it was a frivolous charge. I didn't sign the warrant. 5, 6 months later, Mr. Whitt filed papers again against somebody else for simple assault. In his affidavit, everything that he said met the criteria of the statutes. I signed the warrant for this individual. He said there were witnesses going to testify to all his statements. That's fine. Signed the warrant. We came to trial a few months later, and in trial we found out that there was no witnesses on his behalf, and all the witnesses testified for the other person. I found the defendant not guilty. That's the only 2 things that I've ever had to do with the Whitts. But since that time, he has reported me to the judicial performers numerous times. They have investigated the things that he accused me of. Never found me guilty of anything. They have looked in my public life here through justice court. Every office in this courthouse, they have dug and dug and dug and dug for 7 years. They have went around to other water associations that they thought I might have done business with or did business with. They've contacted just about everyone in the surrounding area, tried to get me fired from contracts that I've had, went to other board meetings, told them they was going to sue them if they didn't give them my personal information, whatever. And they have tried to get me fired from everything that I've done. They've done this for 7 years. 7 years. But I probably need to thank them today. Because what I've been trying to tell the folks that voted for me 8 years ago, that no matter who came, threatened me, wrote whatever about me, put whatever on the internet, when I put on this robe and get on that bench, I'm going to make the right decision according to the law, no matter what anybody else says. And I've told folks that for 8 years. For the past 7 years, they have investigated me inside and out. And if all they can find on me is where I decided to step up and pay money back that was given to me, even though I didn't have anything to do with allocating, a judge can't allocate any money, we don't collect any money, but I thought it was the right thing to do on the supervisor's behalf. If that's all that they can find against me, I think they have proved my case to the voters that they've got the right man for the job that's going to do what's right no matter what anybody says. And I'd just like to ask this board today, there's been numerous folks call me and said, look, we don't understand, we're taxpayers, we're voters, how that somebody don't even live in the county, don't pay a dime's worth of taxes, lives out of state, can tie up 5 supervisors, every office in this courthouse just about, for 7 years, just over frivolous stuff. You know, they tell me they just want it stopped. Other elected officials have told me the same thing. And I'd just like to say today that I'd like to see it stopped also. I've got an attorney that wanted me to go ahead and file a suit so they could serve them with papers today on defamation of character for spreading these lies about we ever paid any cent of a fine, which we have not. I don't want to sue them. I don't want nothing they got. You know, I'd just like to see it over with. I've done nothing against them but what I'm supposed to do according to the law. And I'm going to continue to do that whether it's them or anybody else. And basically, that's all I've got to say.
You know, I just wondered, I know all that happened before we come in office, you know, I didn't know what happened.
Well, I think when we all walk through that door today, that'll be the end of it, on both sides.
I agree.
Because it's going on too long. And I don't, you know, a lot of this stuff happened before I got here. And it's going on too long. And I'm not sure what all has happened. You pled your case. I've seen yours on the camera. It sounds to me like it's just something needs to be done away with and put to bed and going on.
I'd like to speak if I'm allowed to, but since
You will have your time, Mr. Witt. You will have your time. Mr. Glover, we appreciate you coming in again today. Is there any more questions from this board to Mr. Glover? We had these claims made against you, Judge Glover, and of course, Mr. Witt was allowed to speak at our last board meeting, and we felt, the only right thing to do would be to listen to you and Mr. Mills at this time, and then we would